He entered the octagon with nothing but hunger and grit. Young Brazilian warrior stepping into the UFC with a dream bigger than his hometown. That was Charles "Bronx Oliveira. His debut, a lightning-fast submission over Darren Elkins in just 41 seconds. His early fights, a mix of brilliance, setbacks, and a warrior's heart that refused to break. And then came the moment that changed everything. The title shot, the chance to become champion, the climb to the summit. But the mountain isn't always kind. On June 28, 2025, at UFC 317, he faced Ilia Topuria, and in the first round, he was knocked out, stripped of victory. His championship hopes crushed. And yet, this is not the end of the story. In his latest fight, he returned with fire and redemption on the line. The journey of Charles Oliveira is more than wins and losses. It's about character, resilience, and the warrior's path. Stay with us as we dive into the rise, the fall, and the comeback of Bronx. When Charles Oliveira first stepped into the UFC in 2010, few could have imagined the storm that was coming. Just 20 years old, long, lean, and fearless, Oliveira debuted against Darren Elkins, submitting him in only 41 seconds with a guillotine choke that announced his arrival to the world. The young Brazilian wasn't just winning, he was finishing. Fight after fight, Oliveira showed the world that his jiu-jitsu wasn't just world-class, it was lethal. He followed that first win with another submission over Efraim Escudero, proving that his style was built to end fights, not survive them. But as every warrior learns, success is never a straight climb. Losses to veterans like Donald "Cowboy" Cerrone, Cub Swanson, and Frankie Edgar tested his spirit. Critics said he was too fragile, that he would never make it to the top. But Bronx had something most fighters never find: faith in his evolution. Instead of breaking, he rebuilt. He sharpened his striking, strengthened his body, and forged his mind in the fires of defeat. Every submission, every setback, every round was shaping a champion. The kid from the favelas wasn't just fighting for fame, he was fighting for redemption. And redemption was coming. Years passed, and Charles Oliveira transformed from a talented submission artist into a complete fighter. The kid who once relied on jiu-jitsu now had razor-sharp Muay Thai, precise timing, and a composure that only experience could build. Between 2018 and 2021, Oliveira went on one of the greatest streaks in UFC lightweight history. He finished elite names like Kevin Lee, Tony Ferguson, and Michael Chandler, not just with skill, but with style. Against Chandler at UFC 262, Oliveira was nearly knocked out in the first round. But champions are defined by what they do when they're hurt. In the second round, he came out with fury, landing a perfect left hook that sent Chandler crashing down. In that moment, Charles Oliveira became the UFC lightweight champion. The boy from the favelas had reached the mountaintop. But the crown is heavy. Defending it is a battle even greater than winning it. Oliveira defended his title against Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje, showing once again that his heart, not just his skill, made him special. Yet, even kings fall. Controversy, missed weights, and new challengers appeared. The world began to wonder, was this the end of Bronx's reign, or just another trial on the warrior's path? No matter how high you climb, the fight never ends. For Charles Oliveira, glory was never permanent. It was borrowed, and every fight was a test to prove he still deserved it. After defending his title and becoming one of the most feared finishers in UFC history, Oliveira faced a new storm: Ilia Topuria. Young, hungry, undefeated and ready to carve his name into the division's history. On June 28, 2025, the arena trembled as Bronx stepped into the octagon once again. He had rebuilt himself. He had prepared for war. But sometimes, even the strongest warriors face moments they can't control. Topuria came fast, precise, and ruthless. In the first round, a sharp combination ended the fight. Oliveira was knocked out. The defeat was painful, but if you know Charles Oliveira, you know one thing. He never stays down for long, because his story has always been about resilience, about falling 7 times and standing up 8. Months later, in his most recent fight, Oliveira returned, not for fame, not for revenge, but to prove to himself that his spirit still burned. He fought with fire, composure, and the same relentless pace that made him a legend. And once again, the world remembered why he is called Bronx. Because he was forged in the struggle, built from nothing, and born to fight. In the end, Charles Oliveira's story isn't just about gold belts or highlight reels. It's about faith, perseverance, and courage. From the favelas of Brazil to the bright lights of the UFC, he showed the world that greatness doesn't come from privilege, it comes from pain transformed into purpose. Every time life tried to break him, he came back stronger. Every loss, every cut, every doubt became fuel. That's what makes him special. Charles Bronx doesn't just fight opponents. He fights fear, pressure, and expectation. He fights the part of himself that wants to quit. And that's what makes him a true warrior. His story reminds us that it's not about how many times you fall. It's about how many times you rise, even when no one believes you can. Because every champion is built not in victory, but in the moments they refuse to stay down. You can hit me, you can knock me down, but you will never break me. This is the warrior's path. The fight never ends. If this story inspired you, remember, true strength isn't just about winning fights. It's about fighting when everything seems lost. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and join us on the warrior's path. Because every legend starts with a single step and the courage to never give up.